What were casta paintings? Have you ever wondered how art can reflect society's views on race and class? Casta paintings are a fascinating example of this. These unique artworks emerged in the 18th century in colonial Mexico. They visually represented the complex racial classifications established by the Spanish colonial casta system. This system was a strict social hierarchy based on ancestry and racial mixture, aimed at maintaining Spanish control over diverse populations in Latin America. Casta paintings typically depicted family groups, showing a father, mother, and child. Each family represented different racial combinations from unions between Spaniards, indigenous peoples, Africans, and their mixed descendants. The paintings included labels that identified each racial category, such as Mestizo, which refers to a mix of Spanish and indigenous ancestry, and Mulatto, which refers to a mix of Spanish and African ancestry. In total, there were often over 20 distinct categories. These artworks served multiple purposes beyond mere decoration. They acted as visual documents that reinforced the colonial social order. By illustrating the racial hierarchy, they legitimized the social status of different groups. Families with pure Spanish ancestry were often placed higher in the hierarchy, while those with mixed or indigenous and African backgrounds were positioned lower. This arrangement reflected the perceived social status of each group. Casta paintings were often created for audiences back in Spain. They aimed to explain and justify the racial diversity and complex social structure of the New World. The artists used these paintings to communicate the colonial obsession with categorizing people based on race. This obsession highlighted how intertwined race and class were in colonial Latin American society. Even after Latin American countries gained independence from Spain, the legacy of these racial classifications continued to shape social attitudes and hierarchies. Casta paintings remain as important historical artifacts today. They illustrate the racial and social dynamics of colonial Latin America. These artworks reflected how Spanish colonial authorities sought to define and maintain power through racial categorization and visual representation. Casta paintings are not just art. They are a window into the past, revealing how societies viewed race and class during a time of significant change and exchange in Latin America.